Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on martial politics. Today I'm going to be commenting on this video that was suggested to me by someone on Discord for me to make a video about. And the title is really simple. It's just Capitalism Wins, and it was created, as you can see on the screen here, by PragerU. Now PragerU is supported by rich, millionaires and billionaires, and they do their propaganda for them. You're gonna see that in this video. They've probably made like 500 million videos like this. I've seen several videos similar to this from PragerU. I think the difference is how blatant they are at certain parts with, you'll see. Yeah, it gets really, really bad. The video is presented by former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who, as all of you know, she's an absolute travesty and a disgrace. Now you'll see this throughout the video. They're gonna claim that like capitalism is somehow like beneficial for family. Sorry, not just regular capitalism, but laissez-faire capitalism. That's really what it is. That laissez-faire capitalism is just so beneficial to the American middle class or whatever, and they'll continue to bring up these ridiculous examples like, it's the typical Venezuela, North Korea, China, which are all totalitarian, and China has a lot of elements of capitalism, by the way, but that's something else. Anyways, I'm just gonna start the video, and I'll comment at certain parts, and yeah, just get worried. I might yell, so maybe turn down your volume or whatever. If you're on a phone or computer, whatever. Okay, let's begin.
There are many in the West, including many who should know better, who find it difficult, unpopular, or just plain embarrassing to defend capitalism.
Okay. No. There are a lot of people in the United States that like capitalism, but it's just the certain type of capitalism we live under, which is laissez-faire capitalism and the corporate oligarchy that exists right now, which exists as a result of that. But let's continue.
I take the opposite view. We should double down on it, for a very simple reason. It remains not just the best, but the only chance for the least fortunate in the world to make life better for themselves and their children.
Okay, oh yes, that $6 per hour wage is really helping American families and bettering their lives for their children. That's really what Nikki Haley supports. And you'll see later on she claims that like wages were going up. Oh, I wonder why. Probably because of wage legislation to increase the minimum wage in certain states. Maybe that.
And the more we see of capitalism's rival, socialism,
okay, just get prepared.
The more proof we have that capitalism is the way we want to go. I've seen this over and over again, from my own childhood to my time as governor of South Carolina to most recently and most dramatically during my tenure as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. I grew up in South Carolina as the daughter of Indian immigrants. My mom started a small shop selling...
Hey, there we go again. Oh, Republicans will be like, we don't play identity politics, but look at this. I was the daughter of Indian immigrants. No, that's unimportant. Oh, anyways, let's just continue.
Selling clothes and gifts that grew into a successful business. She showed my brothers, my sister, and me what it meant to live the American dream.
Yes, that's when the American middle class actually existed. Now it literally doesn't. It's dying every single day because of inadequate economic policies by the ruling class. American dream. American dream is literally dead at this point. But anyways, let's continue.
As my mother's story so vividly illustrates, America is a country where people can find jobs that match their talents and passions. Some Americans take this for granted. The rest of the world envies it.
Oh yes, all other countries on the planet envy our massive wealth inequality. Our population doesn't even have access to basic health care. This is just like, really? The world envies this? Oh, but we could get jobs for individual talent. Oh yeah, you think you could do that anymore? You're gonna be chained working for a large corporation. Like, what are you even talking about? Yeah, we can just find a job for anyone. Not true, because your fucking system sucks.
As governor of South Carolina, I marveled at capitalism's power to improve lives.
Capitalism does not improve lives directly, and people's lives only improve because of chance or direct government action. That's like the majority of the time. Or maybe like you actually are accomplished and successful when you're able. Well, that also kind of comes with luck, because a lot of life actually depends on luck. But the way we can remedy that for people who aren't so lucky is that we can use government power. But as you'll see, Nikki Haley doesn't believe in using government power and just believes that somehow an economic system, just laissez-faire capitalism, helps everyone, when that's literally untrue.
Our pro-free market policies helped bring in more than $20 billion in investment and created jobs in...
Oh, yes. The free market. Oh, yes. I hope you enjoy buying all your products from the several corporations. I hope you like living in a corporate oligarchy, peasants. That's exactly what, as I said in the previous video, that's what free market capitalism really is. It's just code word for maintaining the current economic order and maintaining the power of large corporations. They don't care about families. Oh, an investment. Investment in what? Like, please tell me, investment in what? Please tell me. Oh, what? Government contracts with big corporations or something? Nah, obviously not true, but yeah, government contracts. Let me just go back to that.
Marveled at capitalism's power to improve lives. Our pro-free market policies helped bring in more than $20 billion in investment and created jobs in every county of the state. Those jobs provide dignity and purpose. And
dignity and purpose. I hope you love working your deadbeat job at McDonald's. Capitalism is great. Please don't question the ruling class. Oh god, this trick is just so ridiculous. But anyways, I'm just gonna continue because I'm gonna end up repeating myself. I'll continue.
As I often say, when you give a person a job, you take care of a family.
You take care of a family if you give the wage earner a decent fucking wage. Yeah, I hope you're really supporting your family off of that $8.50 per hour paycheck from McDonald's or Walmart or Amazon. Oh, yes. I love capitalism.
During my time as the U.S. ambassador to the UN, I was reminded that not every country enjoys the same freedom and prosperity as America. More than 1.5 billion people still suffer under socialist...
Socialism! Socialism, everyone, do you hear? Socialism is the main threat to American society, not our unchecked corporate oligarchy, not our incompetent ruling class, but socialism! When socialism has helped people in the United States. Do you like your Social Security? Yeah, that's technically socialism because you're using the government to give the elderly money. Or Medicaid or Medicare. Those programs actually help people. But no, socialism Socialism. Socialism. Oh, yes, socialism. Oh, that's weird. Oh, looks like YouTube doesn't like my commentary. Okay, I'll be right back once I fix it.
More than 1.5 billion people still suffer under socialist regimes.
Socialism.
In 2018, I stood on the Simon Bolivar Bridge at the border of Venezuela and Colombia.
Okay.
I watched thousands of Venezuelans cross into Colombia for the only meal they might have that day. I held a beautiful baby girl. Her mother told me all she wanted for her daughter was a future of freedom.
Yes, freedom under the corporate oligarchy. Oh, don't you see this? Venezuela was led obviously by, the famous demagogue Maduro. Obviously he's terrible because he's a totalitarian freak. That doesn't represent, government paid programs to actually help its population. What I'd like is for a mixed market economy, actually similar to Sweden. Now, Sweden actually they're actually good on a lot of issues, except for immigration, by the way. But I love when the left-wing progressives also talk about Sweden. They don't mention that they're one of the most homogenous nations on the planet, where you actually have very large majority of the population actually being white and Swedish. Now, anyways, you'll see this again and again. You see this by the fiscal conservatives to basically say, you want to change capitalism? You want this? Poverty, that's bad. You like poverty or something? You want that to happen? Job loss, death, and they just list the typical negative things. Here's negative things. Bad, bad, bad. You're a joke and a fraud. You're dumb fiscal conservative, and you support the incompetent ruling class. Draw neoliberals, by the way, mostly.
They were one of millions of Venezuelan families whose lives have been destroyed by the country's socialist policies.
Socialism destroyed Venezuela? No, it was their incompetent government. See, as I said in a previous video, you can actually use government power to your advantage and help your population. It's not always inherently bad, because it depends on what you're doing with that government power. Because it all depends on the context, really. That's what it is. And you'll consistently see these people, again, point to Venezuela, North Korea, etc., and they have no idea what they're talking about, because they just had incompetent ruling class systems, and their leaders were morons. That's not... When you actually have a competent leader, you won't get any of this garbage. Anyways, let's continue.
So imagine my dismay to find that socialism has become trendy here in America.
Trendy. Oh, I wonder why. There totally isn't massive wealth inequality. 80%, totally 90% of the country right now isn't suffering. Actually, no, more 80%, right? Yeah, probably around 80%, because you also have the top 10%. They're not really suffering that badly. Top 15% even. They're not really suffering as an extent as the rest of the country. The top 10 to 15% of the country is there's minimal setbacks. In fact, some of them are actually prospering, Amazon, Walmart, etc., because they're the only people basically profiting. You have a bunch of small businesses. I think it's some crazy percentage, 80% of small businesses that closed during the pandemic will never reopen, and that's really absolutely terrible. And maybe, I really wonder why people are questioning laissez-faire capitalism when it has a proven record of failure, not just now but in the past. You saw that in the with the Great Depression, how that happened because there was the wealth was among the wrong people in the population. Anyways, let's continue.
American socialists claim they seek a more enlightened socialism, like those found in Scandinavian countries. But
yes, that's actually what most of them want, and but they're very clear. They call it mixed market economies. They don't call it socialist. It's a capitalist society, but there's elements of socialism. Anyways, let's continue.
But those countries are not socialist. They're capitalist and offer...
Nope, they're mixed market economies.
Large welfare benefits.
Yes, large welfare benefits, which are socialism, which is socialism. So you have the combination of both. So you kind of have that here. This is the capitalist. For some reason, they show like these terrible buildings. They look like they're in Detroit or something. I think that's maybe like an accurate representation of the failures of American capitalism. But anyways, let's continue because there's so much more.
But ironically, to make their system work, they've had to repeatedly slash their corporate tax rate.
Not even true. I don't even know where he's getting this from.
Denmark has cut its corporate rate by more than half since the 1990s. Other democracies, including Israel, India, and the UK, experimented with socialism, only to abandon it.
What do you even mean? Israel has a government-mandated healthcare system. How did they give up on socialism? Great Britain too. I'm not sure about India. I haven't done I don't know too much about like India's economy. I know they do have like a lot of capitalist investors from like big companies like, you know, Google, like AT&T. I heard they were like building large internet Wi-Fi networks across India because obviously it's a big marketplace. But yeah, what do you mean? They have socialism. I don't even... She's just a moron. A lot of people fall for this really embarrassingly crafted propaganda to basically support the economic status quo, which is only benefiting the top like 10-15% of the population.
And only then did they thrive.
Not true, by the way. They still have socialist. They still have large limits of socialism. All three of those. So well, I don't know about India, but anyway, let's continue.
The results are in. Socialism, however you want to define it, has failed everywhere it's...
I don't even know where she's... Oh my god. We actually have elements of socialism in America, except it's not socialism for the poor, it's socialism for the rich. That's a failure. But no, how could you even say, I mean, she said earlier in the video, like, capitalism is like, oh, a proven record of success. Yeah, I'm based a capitalist defender? You're gonna question me? Are you like a communist or something? You want America to become the Soviet Union? Oh, God. You really can't reason with these people. And they're like on the same level of self-delusion, just like the neoliberals. Instead, they're more obsessed with like capitalism and defending the economic status quo as if that's so amazing or whatever, when it's obviously not.
Been tried. A handful of elites sitting in a government office can never outthink millions of...
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny she mentions that. Let me just go back to that graphic they pulled up. A handful of elites. I really wonder what that makes you think of. Maybe if you think for like 5 seconds, you'll realize that's what our society is, except it's not, there is government elites. They're kind of colluding with corporations at this point, but it is corporations. They're the handful of elites that are controlling society. That's why I find this so ironic, and it's like she just says such blatant things like this. I just don't know how a rational thinking person could fall for this. Anyways, let's continue.
Can never outthink millions of business owners and consumers making millions.
Oh, yes. The consumers, they're totally not, they're definitely not pressured by the large corporations. Everything's fine, don't look over here. Massive wealth inequality, low wages. It's just like, yes, the corporations are so perfect. Oh, God.
Of individual choices every moment of every day. You'd think we'd have gotten the message by now. An entire generation of American adults are too young to remember.
Let me just play this for a bit.
The suffering socialism caused during the last century.
Okay, guys, if you haven't heard anything like this, consider yourselves lucky. You've seen all these ridiculous boomer arguments. You support socialism? You don't remember. What? What kind of argument is that? We live in an age where it's so easy to obtain information. We don't need to live for it. We just need to read basic information. Oh, but it's just like, oh, it's unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. They don't remember the horrors of socialism. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll tell my children I remember the horrors of Laissez-Faire capitalism. One day, once the ruling class is defeated. Anyways, let's continue.
Instead of teaching students to reject our country's history and founding ideals, schools should have a required class on the history and collapse of the Soviet Union.
Oh, well, that first part is different, but, last part. The Soviet Union collapsed because they had an incompetent ruling class. That's what happens. When you have such an incompetent ruling class, idiotic rulers, you also had some, like, external factors as well. But, excuse me. When you have all those factors in play, obviously a society is going to collapse. And they didn't collapse because of communism, because they're, I'm not defending the Soviet Union, by the way. They're absolutely disgusting. It was just terrible totalitarian society. But the thing is, I'm angered by what she points to as the reason why the Soviet Union collapsed, which is just absolutely hilarious. Oh, it's because of socialism, but whatever, you know what? Really, I think that schools should actually be teaching Americans what kind of unequal society we live in, massive wealth inequality. We also need to promote cognitive activity. We can't tolerate people really just being dumbed down and, you know, following the lead of corporations at this point. I mean, corporations have such vast amount of influence over society. You see this on mainstream, we see this in mainstream media as well. We see this on social media platforms. You see this, like, for certain companies that support, like, LGBTQ, whatever, nonsense. They have vast control over our society. We need to educate our population that laissez-faire capitalism has resulted in this, and that we need to overthrow the neoliberal ruling class and establish an equal society where all Americans, not people who can just think they can barge into our country and take all of our wealth. That's completely unacceptable. But we should promote American families first. That's one of the major things. Not corporations first. Not this nonsense that is being perpetrated in this video. Anyways, let's continue.
Young people at least have the excuse of being miseducated. But what does one say about corporate CEOs who give in to social trends rather than standing up for a system that their own businesses and workers depend on?
Oh, by the way, guys, just prepare for this this next part. It's gonna be pretty unbearable.
I'm talking about advocates of so-called stakeholder capitalism, a philosophy that retains the word capitalism but abandons its meaning. Recently, the chief executives of some of America's largest companies changed their self-definition. They said companies should focus on customers, workers, and communities. This is just politically correct nonsense.
Please just take into account what was just said and really question what has led us up to this point. So we started with, the typical capitalism great. And like after there's like socialism bad, get away. And then they try to debunk the left. Sweden and the Scandinavian countries are actually very capitalist. I mean, a lot of left-wing progressives don't support post-capitalist society. They actually support a mixed market economy. But anyways, just think of that, what has led us to this point. So what she's basically saying is that companies apparently actually caring about individual consumers, workers, and communities is, quote, politically correct nonsense. Really? And they don't even do it anyways. But she's even attacking them for even, saying anything. This is completely unacceptable. I don't think I've ever seen such an unbelievably idiotic argument like this. Never seen this before. It's just so... at least directly as this? She quoted she said that chief executives said they should focus on customers, workers, communities. And she says, politically correct nonsense. Oh my god. This is really just on a whole other level. I don't think I've ever seen this on a mainstream, channel. PragerU, where they're literally saying that supporting their workers is politically correct nonsense. And they don't even do it anyways. It's not even like the companies do it anyways. But, as I said, she literally criticizes them for even, trying. You shouldn't care. She's basically you shouldn't care for your workers. Just care about your own individual profit. You don't need to care about those lowly peasants. And this is really the secret, underlying thing in this fiscal conservative ideology. They clearly have contempt for the American middle class. It is just so blatant, and the neoliberals do too, but they have it for different reasons, for ridiculous political reasons. But this is more direct, because at the same time they're claiming, my family suffered under socialism and they moved to America and everything's better. I don't even get how this is tolerated. Anyways, I'm just gonna play the rest of the video. There's a minute and a half left. I'll see if there's anything else I need to comment. I think there's one other thing. But it really is amazing how these moronic fiscal conservatives can even exist. It's just completely unacceptable.
These CEOs know that's what successful businesses already do. It's what they have
they don't
to do to survive in our capitalist system.
No, it's not. That is not what they have to do. What do you mean? Walmart has been suppressing its workers, and Amazon as well. You think they're facing any backlash? What are you even talking about? This is so blatantly false. It's so easy to prove that she's wrong. Anyways, let's just play this.
A company that cheats its customers, mistreats its workers, and abuses its community won't be around long.
That's not even true. Amazon, Walmart have been doing this for years. Have they faced any consequences? No, of course they haven't. Okay, anyways, continue.
Profits are what keep a business going and allow it to thrive. They generate the funds needed for more job creation. You don't need an advanced economic.
Oh, yes. More low-wage jobs. I hope you love it. Meanwhile, we undercut families and care more about corporations than we do about regular people.
Degree to understand this. So why are these CEOs?
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't need it. I understand exactly what you're saying. It's just such garbage. I understand completely what you're saying. That's why I'm responding this way. I mean, it's so easy to debunk your ridiculous fiscal con propaganda nonsense you see on PragerU. By the way, PragerU was founded by a Jew, so obviously he supports Israel, right? You also see this with Ben Shapiro. Do you see like Ben Shapiro or Dennis Prager, all these Jews supporting Medicare for all when Israel has it? No, because it's socialism.
So anxious to embrace this in-name-only capitalism? Probably because they think they need to placate the noisemakers on the socialist left.
The socialist left. Oh, I don't know, maybe it's also like people who see major flaws in our society.
That's a fool's game. The left is never satisfied. So
The left. Oh, what she means by left is anyone who's opposed to, the economic status quo. And you have a lot of right-wing people who oppose it as well, including me, obviously. But let's just continue.
Let's defend what works. And what works is capitalism. Until
It doesn't.
the unforeseeable shutdown of the economy as a response to the coronavirus, it was working better than ever. Unemployment was at a 50-year low.
Oh, yes.
Wages were rising at the fastest rate in...
Oh, I wonder why those wages were rising so fast. Maybe it's because of wage increase laws in certain states. There's actually a good article about this from Pedro Gonzalez. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he writes a lot of good articles. And he wrote the conservative case for a $15 minimum wage on Newsweek. And in that article, he actually exposes that really these wage increases that happened during the Trump administration, they weren't because of Trump's 2017 tax bill. It was because of wage increases in states and a bunch of other programs like paid family leave. Anyways, let's just wrap this up. There's probably like 10 or 15 seconds left because there's like a short promotion at the end, but whatever.
In a decade, more women and minorities were working than ever
Women and minorities gotta play the identity politics.
before. Poverty was at a record low in America. Let's get back to that as quickly as possible. There's only one way to do it. Capitalism.
Oh, yes. Okay, anyways. I'm not going to address that last point since I just repeating myself. I feel like I've done that quite a lot during this entire video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's rather comedic actually how you can make such terrible, lazy propaganda like this, that capitalism is great. You also have a lot of ill-informed people in the comments below just saying, oh, capitalism is great or whatever, when it's really not. I'm not saying that capitalism is completely terrible, but our current capitalist system does not benefit the majority of the population, not even close. It only benefits a select portion of the population. That's really a shame. Capitalist economic system should serve the people who participate in them, not like some greater stupid goal. Oh, it's so great. It was so great in the past, and it's so great now. When it's not. Anyways, I'm beginning to get a headache just listening to myself say this, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, like and subscribe for more. And if you have any comments or criticism or any general question, then you're welcome to leave it in the comments down below. Also, share with people. That's an important way this channel can grow. And, of course, I hope every single person watching this has a beautiful day, and farewell.